Okay, we're continuing with the Hidden History of Health by me, Pete Rogers. First guy we're going to talk about right here is Martin Pall. He's a PhD biochemist trained at Caltech. He's a med school biochemistry professor. The guy's a genius. He figured out the role of something called the no-O-no cycle. No-NO is for nitric oxide. O-no is O-N-O-O. It's for peroxynitrite. And he figured out how that cycle creates a vicious cycle of destructive problems inside a cell that leads to many of the less common but still very important chronic illnesses like chronic fatigue syndrome, multiple chemical sensitivity, fibromyalgia, post-traumatic stress disorder, Gulf War syndrome. And he believes it also contributes to cognitive decline with regard to dementia as well as Parkinson's disease and ALS. Okay, how important it is in those, I'm not sure. He thinks it's the number one, by far, most important cause of congestive heart failure. So he had written this paper, 55-page paper on the no-O-no cycle causing CHF, and basically said not that much can be done to treat it. But I had recognized that, Robert Osterfeld, Baxter Montgomery, Dr. McDougall, Walter Kempner had successful treatments of patients who responded very well to low-fat vegan diet. So that's when I wrote my chronic fatigue book, because I realized that was the key to making the most sense out of chronic fatigue. I wrote like a 500-page biochemistry book on chronic fatigue. It's by far the best thing. Ron Davis over at Stanford, Klaus Wirth in Germany, Systrom over in Harvard. Those guys have done great work, and there's some other good guys who did something good. Jared Younger over at Alabama, and other guys did really good work on chronic fatigue syndrome and related disorders. But my book on it, I think, of course, I'm biased, is the best one. But there's a lot of good information there. Anyways, if you want to read a 500-page biochemistry book with tiny little pictures and hardly any pictures, Martin Pall. But Martin Pall's got really good lectures on the internet of his ideas and stuff. And he also, what's unique about him, besides being a genius of biochemistry, he really knows a lot about physics. And he's a big proponent of all the problems related to EMF, opening up voltage-gated calcium channels. So anyways, that's Martin Pall. He's a guy worth studying if you're interested in those things. Well worth studying. He's brilliant. Okay, here is the great book, the big blockbuster book of the year on vitamin B12 by Anthea Hayes. She basically came to the conclusion that it's totally bogus and people don't need to take it at all. I'm not so sure. She made pretty convincing arguments, and it is true that the nutritional supplement research industry is full of fake papers funded by industry, and it seems like a lot of that was the case with B12, but I just seen too many good neurologists say you need to take it, and they've seen B12 deficiency problems and reversal of it with taking B12. So I can't let it go. On the other hand, it just seems strange that no other animal needs to take a B12 supplement. Other vegan animals don't B12 supplements. So I haven't completely figured that one out. I'm going to read more about it. But, McDougall knew he hadn't figured it out. Jeff Nelson knows it's not really well figured out. There's other people claiming you can get it from some plant foods, but I'm not sure yet. So I still take the most minimal amount, next to nothing, about once every month or two. But I'm skeptical of B12. I think it might be bogus, but I can't tell you for sure it is because I don't know for sure. Okay, that's the hot book, though. It's a great book. You read it. It's very interesting and entertaining. Okay, Tripping Over the Truth is a great book about cancer. Basically, the conclusion was the SMT, somatic mutation theory, looks bogus, primarily bogus, and the metabolic theory of cancer looks like it's the main one by far, the whole Warburg effect thing. Travis Christofferson, he's a great teacher. He did a great job writing this book, but he sort of drifted into stupidity going down the path of paleo-keto, which, if you know anything about nutrition, it doesn't make sense. It causes cancer. Okay, Radical Remission by Kelly Turner. She basically was working at Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, and she noticed there were these people who were surviving metastatic cancer a real prolonged amount of time, so she decided to study them. She would talk to the oncologists, and they're like, oh, they just got lucky, anecdotal information. And she's like, well, I keep seeing the same pattern over and over. I think it's more than just anecdotal information. And they did stuff like eat a plant-based diet, get more sunshine, exercise more, manage their stress, keep track, be heavily involved in their own treatment, not just go by what the doctor says. Get More Sunshine. Anyway, she goes through all those things in her book. It's a very good book. She's got some YouTube videos as well. There's Ruth Heidrich. She survived over 40 years with metastatic breast cancer. She won all these awards for triathlons and marathons, and she's a super nice lady. I have a video of my interview of her. She works with the Vegan Society Hawaii and has lectures over there as well. She's written a couple of books, including this one by Senior Fitness. She's a PhD, real smart lady. You learn a lot from her. She basically talked to Dr. McDougall, and right there on the spot, she became a low-fat vegan. And then she survived for over 40 years. She's still alive. She's 90 years old. Here's a book by Janet Murray, Raw Can Cure Cancer. And she's been alive for over 20 years with metastatic breast cancer. And she ran a marathon, 1 marathon a day, or walked a marathon, all around the periphery of Australia to promote what she was doing. Her husband went with her. Still pretty extraordinary. So she went on a raw vegan diet. Here is Cancer Doesn't Scare Me Anymore by Dr. Day. She also survived metastatic breast cancer for many, many years. I don't remember exactly how many years she survived it for, about 30. She died about a year ago. This lady was a genius. I think she's up there amongst the smartest women who ever lived. Smartest women who ever lived, I think, are like, Ayn Rand, probably the absolute #1 smartest lady who ever lived. Ann Osborne, the neuroradiologist lady from the Mormon, out from Utah. The Cole lady, I forget her first name, who was written about in that book by Travis Christofferson, Tripping Over the Truth About Cancer. And this lady here, and Ann Coulter. I think they're the smartest women who I've ever seen in my life studying their work. Here's another book, Drugs Never Cure Disease. I Will Give You Back Your Health Again by Dr. Day. They're very good. Okay, then here's the hot book of the year on cancer by this guy, Mark Lintern. And he came to the conclusion that there's an initial injury to the cell by something like ischemia, lack of blood flow, hypoxia. And subsequent to that, fungi infection take over the cell and sort of turn it against the person. And it's a very plausible theory. I made a very detailed, like 6 or 7 part book review of this, went through every page of it. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. But it was a great book. The guy is real smart. He's not a medical person at all, but he just wanted to figure it out because his girlfriend died from cancer, and he himself had cancer, so he wanted to learn how to cure it. Here's a book I wrote about cancer, and I wrote this book a couple of years ago. Some of my medical friends say it's my favorite book, just because it's very quick to the point and you can understand everything pretty easily. I've added something to it. If you want to watch my best video on cancer, that would be Cancer Update 2026 that I just made a couple months ago. But this was a good book. And I think that's all I got for today. I hope you found that helpful. And I know the key point about cancer is the metabolic theory of cancer is what makes sense. And those lectures I just told you, Cancer Update 2026, you'll see it in my book if you want. I go through all the biochemistry of cancer, what you need to know, basically be a low-fat vegan, manage your stress, all that stuff. I'm going to go into it in great detail. Anyways, I hope you found that helpful.